What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm looking at all the sneaker releases in March and whether I think they're gonna sit or whether I think they're gonna sell. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. Make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler if you haven't yet. Also, make sure to head on over to Twitch and give me a follow over there at Seth Fowler. Really quick, I'd also like to thank Reshoevn8r for sponsoring this video. Reshoevn8r is my go-to for all my sneaker cleaning needs. They have pretty much anything sneaker cleaning related, including the sneaker laundry kit, the Reshoevn8r water and stain repellent, and also these Reshoevn8r sneaker wipes. This is probably one of my most used products that they provide. They're really great for cleaning up those small stains or scuffs that really aren't that big of a deal, but help you keep your shoes looking clean and fresh for longer. So if you guys love what I do on the channel and want to check out Reshoevn8r, make sure to click the link in the description below, and also make sure to use my discount code Seth for 10% off your entire order. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the sneaker releases in March. First off, this video is all my own opinion, so if I say a sneaker is going to sit or sell, it's only from my personal experience. It doesn't mean the shoe is actually going to do that or not. So don't base your buying decisions entirely off what I say. Buy a sneaker because you like it, not because someone told you to. But jumping right into it, on March 1st, we've got the Adidas EQT 9317 Carpet Pack. This pack includes two 9317s, the matte silver version and the core black version. Both shoes are relatively simple in that they have a one color upper, so the gray version is all gray on the top and the black version is all black. But both shoes also have one other commonality in that they have a red outsole. They're really not a bad looking pair of sneakers and they're definitely clean, so if you're looking for a new pair of 9317s and this is something you're interested in, you should grab them. However, as much as I like the 9317s and think they look good and think that they're comfortable, I really don't think these shoes are going to sell out. Next up, we've got like 5 Adidas Pro Fears dropping. The colorways include Trace Olive, Real Teal, Trace Khaki, Triple White, and Triple Black. The Pro Fear is a great sneaker with a heavy 90s inspiration. Not to mention it's also a pretty heavy sneaker, but it's not something you really notice on feet, only when you're actually holding the shoe. It's definitely got a unique vibe, and all these colorways are actually pretty clean, but I really don't think the shoe is going to sell out in any of the colorways. Next up, we've got the Air VaporMax Utility Orange Peel. The VaporMax Utility has never really been a sneaker that I've been that interested in. I think the VaporMax is already kind of a funky looking shoe, and the VaporMax Utility is even funkier looking, especially in this color, so I definitely think this shoe is gonna sit. And finally, rounding out March 1st, we've got the Jordan Why Not 0.1 Bread. The Jordan Why Not 0.1 is one of Russell Westbrook's newest signature sneakers, and overall, it's not a bad looking shoe, and it's actually not bad on the court either. But to be honest, it's not a sneaker that I'm totally in love with, and I think the only colorways of the Why Not 0.1 that have sold out are more limited colorways. I think this is going to be more of a general release, so I think the shoe is going to sit. Moving on to March 2nd, we've got a lot of Pharrells releasing. Starting things off, we've got 6 colorways of the Adidas Pharrell Tennis Hue dropping. There's bright blue, bright green, bright yellow, scarlet red, multicolor, and Oreo. They're all not bad looking shoes, but ever since the first pair released, the hype has sort of died on the tennis hues, and it's all sort of moved back to the original Adidas Human Race NMDs. So I think all of these colorways, however good they look, are probably all gonna sit. Also, that multicolor colorway that's going to drop is very similar to the multicolor that dropped last year, except it's a lot less yellow. I think instead of the yellows, it's a lot more white. It's like a lighter, sort of desaturated version of the shoe. Doesn't look bad, but just not something I need. Not only do we have the Pharrell Adidas Tennis Hues dropping, but we also have a full-fledged Pharrell Adidas Human Race NMD Trail. This Pharrell Human Race NMD Trail continues in that sort of holy or holly pack in the pink glow colorway. This is definitely a shoe that I'm trying to grab. I missed out on the first Pharrell that dropped this year, and that was a shoe that I actually kind of wanted. There's also something about this colorway, that sort of pink tie-dye vibe, I really dig, and this is definitely a shoe that I'm going to try and pick up. Being that it's a Pharrell Human Race NMD Trail, the shoe is 100% gonna sell out. Honestly, even over the past couple months, I think the Pharrell Human Race NMDs have actually outpaced Yeezys in sort of hype. I think more people want these shoes, and these shoes are becoming more coveted than like your standard Yeezy 350s. There's also some dope drops happening on the Nike side of things on March 2nd as well. We've got 3 different colorways of the Airmax 270s dropping. The first is the Ocean Bliss colorway, which I think is my favorite out of all the 270s that have dropped so far. That shoe I'm probably gonna try and pick up because I didn't actually end up keeping my original 270s. I just didn't really like the colorway that much. But there's something about this colorway that I really dig, and I really like that it's not such a minimal and basic shoe like the last colorway was. Actually, scratch that. There's a 270 releasing later in the month that I think I want even more. But with that being said, I think the shoe is probably gonna sell out. Continuing with the Air Max 270s, we've also got the light bone colorway dropping. Same sort of deal. I definitely like this colorway more than the original colorways, and I think this shoe is probably gonna sell out as well. And finally, rounding off this version of the 270, we've got the medium olive colorway dropping. Dope color, it'll probably sell. I don't think resale is gonna be really crazy or anything at all, but I still think it's gonna sell off store shelves. And then interestingly, there's another 270 that I saw on only one website, and it's the Air Max 270 white, but it's like a different version of the 270. It looks more padded, and actually honestly like a cheaper version of the shoe. It looks to be like just this fatter, more mesh version of the shoe. Not really something that I'm interested in, and based on the fact that no one's really reporting on it, I think the shoe is probably gonna sit. Next up, we've got the Air Max 95 in neon. I mean, it's pretty much the most classic colorway, and it's the OG 95, but I'm not really sure how the shoe is gonna do. I think the 270s are gonna be a little bit more hyped than the 95, and honestly, I could see it selling or maybe sitting, but I think honestly I'm gonna have to lean to the side of, I think the shoe's gonna sit. I wouldn't be surprised if it's sold out though. So I don't know how helpful that's actually gonna be for you. And then finally, rounding off March 2nd, we've got the Lebron 15 Graffiti. It's a black and white Lebron. It's okay, I don't think it's gonna sell though. Moving on to March 3rd, we've got two Air Jordans dropping. The first is the worldwide release of the Air Jordan 13 Hyper Royal. This is a super clean 13 colorway and definitely a shoe that I would consider picking up for myself. But if you want me to be honest, there isn't a lot of hype around 13s right now, and I definitely think this shoe is gonna be a GR, so I think it's gonna sit. And rounding off March 3rd, we've got a shoe that originally was supposed to release back in February, but now is releasing in March, and unfortunately it's still a European-only release, the Off-White Air Jordan 1 in the white colorway. I saw the shoe in person at the Future of Flight event back in LA. If you guys haven't seen that vlog, make sure to check it out at the top of the screen. And you guys know me, I love the Off-White Jordan 1. I think it's an incredible sneaker, and I'm definitely gonna try and grab this shoe. I don't know how I'm gonna get it, but I mean overall, it's a super clean shoe. It was the original version of the Off-White 1, and it's just great. But if you live in the US like myself, the chance of you actually getting the sneaker right now is probably pretty low. However, knowing Jordan Brand, I wouldn't be surprised if a month or a couple months down the road they have a US release, so stay tuned. And I mean, I feel like I don't even have to say it, the shoe is definitely gonna sell out. Moving on to March 6th, we've got the PG2 in the NCAA colorway. The PG2 overall is definitely a clean sneaker. It's not anything I'm crazy about, but it's definitely not a bad looking shoe or a bad ball shoe. And even though the PG2 NCAA colorway isn't bad, I just don't see the shoe selling out. I think it's gonna sit. Moving on to March 9th, we've got the VaporMax 97 Neon dropping. This is a pretty interesting shoe because they took the Air Max 97 upper and put it on a VaporMax outsole. Kind of a weird look in my opinion, but no doubt there are people who are really into this sneaker. Again, this is another shoe that I could see going either way because even though I think it's probably a little limited, I think there's not a huge amount of people that really want this shoe, so I think overall I might have to give this one a sit. And finally, rounding out March 9th, we've got the VaporMax 2.0 Black Hot Punch. I'm not a huge fan of the VaporMax 2.0s. I wasn't a huge fan of the VaporMax 1.0s, but this is a shoe that's coming out. The colorway is not my favorite. I just don't think this shoe is gonna sell. However, if you guys want to see me do a review of the shoe, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know. I'll review it if you guys want. Moving on to March 10th, we've got the Adidas Harden Volume 2 Concrete dropping. The Harden Volume 2 is a good looking sneaker. I think I might actually like it a little bit better than the Harden Volume 1. One thing I will say though, when I was actually holding the shoe, is that it does seem very, very heavy, so I don't think concrete is too far out for the name of the sneaker. Whatever, I haven't played basketball in the shoe yet, and I've only heard good reports, so I shouldn't judge the shoe just yet, but I think this colorway is actually pretty clean. It's gray, black, and white, and overall, you can't really go wrong with it. With that being said though, I think the shoe is gonna sit. And rounding out March 10th, we've got the Air Jordan 9 Bread. This is a pretty clean and simple Air Jordan 9. It's got a black upper with red accents. Nothing too crazy, nothing too far out, but not a bad looking shoe. However, with the amount of pairs I've seen some people getting in, I just think the shoe is probably gonna sit. Moving on to March 11th, we've got one shoe dropping, and that's the Jordan Why Not 0.1 Tribute. Overall, not a bad shoe, but nothing special. The shoe is probably gonna sit. Moving on to March 14th, we've got two Air Maxes dropping. The first is the Atmos Airmax 95 Animal Pack 2.0. This shoe is going to be a highly coveted sneaker and definitely difficult to get. Obviously, it's part of the 2.0 version of the Animal Pack, and being March, the pack is releasing in honor of Air Max Day. This shoe features faux animal fur instead of your regular leather and has a pretty unique look, to say the least. I'm not the biggest fan of this colorway or this pack, but I know a lot of people are, even if it's just for the hype, so the shoe is definitely going to sell. And of course, it can't be the Animal Pack 2.0 without the Atmos Airmax 1. Same deal, it's an Air Max 1 with faux animal fur all over the upper instead of your regular leather. It definitely looks interesting, it definitely looks different, and a lot of people love that. There's no question in my mind that this pack is gonna sell. And honestly, if you can actually grab a pair of these, you might be able to make a couple bucks. On March 15th, we've got one shoe dropping. That shoe is the Nike Zoom Fly SP Tokyo. The Nike Zoom Fly is a shoe that I've actually never tried and one that I should probably pick up if I can find it for a good price. The Zoom Fly SP Tokyo is not a bad looking colorway either, but as we've seen with the other Zoom Flies, I think the shoe is probably gonna sit. Moving on to March 16th, we've got the Pharrell and Adidas Human Race NMD Trail Holy Chalk Coral. This is probably my favorite Pharrell NMD colorway out of this pack, and this is definitely a shoe that I will be going for 100%. I love the purples, I love the greens, I love the tie-dye look. I think it's a really clean sneaker overall. And I mean, of course it's gonna sell out. And also dropping on March 16th, a shoe that's not totally confirmed yet, so I'm not sure if it's dropping now or if it's dropping later or if it's ever gonna drop. That shoe is the Pharrell Adidas Human Race NMD Trail in the Holy Deepest Purple Core Black colorway. This shoe kind of has a friends and family vibe to it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was just that, a friends and family release only, but you never know. It's a pretty clean looking shoe with a black upper and purple accents, and I think overall, if I do have a chance to buy this shoe, I definitely will. But as with all the other Pharrell Human Race NMDs, this shoe is definitely gonna sell. Moving on to March 18th, we've got the Air Jordan 10 I'm Back. This is actually one of my favorite Air Jordan 10 colorways to release in a really long time. I think this white and black colorway is super clean, and it's definitely a shoe that I'd consider picking up. As clean as it is, and the fact that I actually might pick up a pair for myself, I still think the shoe is probably gonna sit. And rounding out March 18th, we've got the Air Jordan 3 Flyknit. This is a shoe that I'm definitely gonna have to grab. As we saw with the Air Jordan 1 Flyknits, you either love the shoe or you hated the shoe. This Flyknit Air Jordan 3, I think more people like than dislike, but it's definitely still a little bit different than what we're used to. It's got sort of a black and gray upper and what looks like almost a glow outsole. I'm not sure if it actually glows or not, but it's definitely got that sort of vibe to it. Because it's a new kind of sneaker, I think there is actually a chance that the shoe might sell out. Next up, on March 22nd, we've got the VaporMax 2.0 Dusty Cactus. I think it's gotten to a point now where VaporMaxes really only sell out if they're a collaboration, and I think that's gonna be the case with this shoe. I just don't see this shoe selling out even though the colorway isn't bad. So as you can probably tell, I think the shoe is gonna sit. And rounding out March 22nd is the Air Max 270 that I definitely need in my collection, the Air Max 270 Dusty Cactus. This is like one of the first colorways of the Air Max 270 that I ever saw. This is the colorway that really made me love the shoe. It's got a really clean look, and it's definitely got a lot more going on than the colorway that I originally reviewed. It's a must cop for me, and I'm pretty sure the shoe is probably gonna sell out. Moving on to March 24th, we've got two pretty great Air Jordans dropping. The first is a shoe that I've already done a review for at a Jordan brand event a couple months ago, and that shoe is the Air Jordan 1 Game Royal. This is sort of like the Fragment 1's little brother. I don't think it's as clean as that colorway, but I still think it's a really great looking shoe. I'm probably gonna end up picking up this colorway, and even though it's not as hyped as some of the previous Air Jordan 1 releases, like the Bread Toes that just released this past weekend, I still think the shoe is probably gonna sell. And of course, the second Jordan dropping on March 24th is the Air Jordan 3 Tinker Hatfield. With the crazy surprise Super Bowl release of the Air Jordan 3 Tinker Hatfield in the Justin Timberlake like white cement colorway, I think everyone is really hyped on this shoe. Of course, it's a little bit different than your regular Air Jordan 3. It's got a swoosh on the side, which is what Tinker Hatfield originally drew. And in 2018, this is the first time that version of the sneaker is actually releasing to the public. This is another shoe I saw at the Jordan Future of Flight event, and I've got to say, I think it's hot. I think it's awesome. This shoe is definitely going to be limited, so it won't be easy to grab, and I wouldn't be surprised if it only releases in certain regions. But if you're on your game or willing to pay resale, you can probably still pick up this shoe no problem. With that being said though, the shoe is definitely going to sell out. Moving on to my birthday, March 26th. It's also Air Max Day, but that's not as important, obviously. We've got three pretty great Air Max drops happening. The first is the re-release of Sean Witherspoon's Air Max 1 97. This is a hybrid of the Air Max 1 and the Air Max 97 created by the founder of Round 2. It's a really great sneaker, and it's designed to be worn and designed to look better the more that it's worn. The materials sort of fray and start to look really nice over time, and I think overall, it's just a great shoe. Keep in mind though, the shoe is very hyped and it's going to be very difficult to get, and obviously the shoe will sell out. The next shoe dropping is the Air Max 270 Flyknit. This shoe kind of bums me out because although I really like Flyknit and although I really like the Air Max 270, I think the way that they actually implemented the Flyknit on the 270, the sort of pattern that they used, isn't my favorite. I kind of wish they had gone with the original sort of pattern that they had on the 270s, but I think overall it's not a bad shoe. Because of the fact that it's Air Max Day and the 270s are pretty hyped right now, I think the shoe is probably going to sell. And rounding out March 26th, we've got the Air Max 270 Triple Black. This shoe is not really one that I'm interested in. I don't think it looks bad, I just think it's kind of boring. However, like I said for the Flyknit 270s, it is Air Max Day and there is a lot of hype around the 270s, so I think the shoe will probably sell. And rounding out the month, on March 28th, we've got the Air Max 98 Triple White dropping. This is definitely going to be the year where Nike brings back a lot of the Air Max 98s, and I do think the Air Max 98 Triple White is a clean shoe. I'm a little torn on this because I'm not in love with the shoe myself. I think there is a chance that it could sell out, but I think overall, the shoe is probably going to sit. That's pretty much everything for the confirmed releases in March. As always, there will be surprise drops and there will be new releases, stuff that I just have no way of knowing about right now. There's also shoes that are rumored to release in March, but we're not totally sure about, like the off-white Vapor Maxes in both the black and white colorway. But as always, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm actually pretty excited about March. I think it's gonna be a great sneaker month. But that pretty much wraps it up for the video today, guys. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below letting me know which sneakers you're looking forward to most. Also, make sure to check out Reshoevn8r at the link in the description below for all your sneaker cleaning needs. And also don't forget to use my discount code Seth for 10% off your order. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to me, Seth Fowler, if you want to see more content just like this. And follow me on all other forms of social media. The links will be in the description below.